From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Good morning, and thank you for starting your day with us. Today is Sunday, July 20th. I'm Kelsey Thorud. Here is a look at the top of our rundown this morning. People in large parts of the Bay Area are breathing a sigh of relief now that a trash collection strike is officially over. Both the Teamsters Union and Republic Services have announced a return to work. The stoppage dragged on for nearly 2 weeks, causing trash to pile up in San Jose, Fremont, and Daly City, among other communities. The company says it is now working to clean up the backlog. And a group of Japanese Americans in the Bay Area are speaking out against the possible reopening of a federal prison. Several hundred gathered at a park on Saturday near a prison called FCI Dublin. The Trump administration has floated the idea of reopening it to hold undocumented immigrants. Demonstrators say that possibility triggers painful memories from when the government forced Japanese Americans into internment camps during World War II. Today, Golden Gate Park hosts the 39th annual AIDS Walk SF, raising money for 18 local nonprofits fighting HIV. The 5K kicks off at 10:30 this morning from Robin Williams Meadow, named, of course, for the late comedian who once joined the cause. An opening ceremony will feature remarks by elected leaders, including State Senator Scott Wiener. Since 1987, the walk has pulled in nearly $96 million across the Bay Area. Okay, let's bring in meteorologist Zoe Mitz to talk about this morning. Zoe, I wore my yellow in the hopes that the sun would come out, but I don't know how likely that's going to be.
Well, it depends where you live. I
live in San Francisco, so.
Well, what part of San Francisco?
Glen Park, which tends to be a little foggy.
Is that on the west side?
South. Kind of middle.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, hopefully.
It's a beautiful neighborhood, though.
Yeah, it is a beautiful neighborhood. And in the northern part of San Francisco, if you come maybe towards Ocean Beach, the Presidio, that will probably be your better chance to see a little bit more sunshine today compared to yesterday. I'm so sorry, Kelsey. I was hoping to have good news for you. But what I do have is a beautiful sunrise for you all to kick off the day. One of my favorite things. This is a view from on top of Mount Diablo. You can see a little bit of that fog spilling over our valley communities. But either way, if you're not dealing with the fog this morning, it is a gorgeous sunrise to kick off this Sunday. We're also looking at a beautiful sunrise from on top of Black Mountain as well. But again, it's only for those of us that are above the clouds. Most of us, like here in San Francisco, it's a foggy start to our day. So don't expect to see beautiful sunny skies unless, again, you live in the highest elevations of the Bay Area, mid to upper 50s all across the Bay. Those microclimates no longer in full force early this morning. We don't normally see them in full force in the morning hours. By the afternoon, our coastal communities will be warming up a degree or two, while our inland areas warm up to the mid to upper 80s once again, with the cloud coverage from right now continuing to peel back. But like I said, the northern part of the Bay Area, you might actually see a little bit less cloud coverage today than you did yesterday. So, hey, maybe if you're heading to Point Reyes, it's not going to be as gloomy out there. However, everybody is going to be seeing cloudier, gloomier, and windier conditions heading our way by as soon as tomorrow. I'll let you know what you can expect this upcoming week coming up in just a bit. Back to you, Kelsey.
Perfect. Thanks, Zoe. Well, the Trump administration has eliminated the LGBTQ support option on the national 988 suicide and crisis lifeline. But Governor Newsom and the Trevor Project say they're stepping in to fill in the gap, releasing a statement that says in part, quote, while the Trump administration continues its attack on LGBTQ kids, California is here to ensure that every person in our state can get the support they need to live a happy, healthy life. But the Trump administration maintains that anyone who calls the service will still receive help, saying they would just no longer be separating those specific kinds of calls and that, quote, anyone who calls the lifeline will continue to receive compassion and help. Amanda Harry spoke with a 17-year-old about the importance of those services, especially for LGBTQ youth.
It's a call that can save a life. Dialing 988 connects the caller to the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. 3 years ago, they added the option to press 3 for LGBTQ plus youth specialized services. But in June, the Trump administration announced they would eliminate that. A move 17-year-old Maya Leach says could be deadly.
These are people who are extremely high risk, and if they don't have the proper resources, then they could very easily take their own lives.
Leach was devastated by the news, but not surprised. Leach has become used to fighting for what's needed for the community.
I myself am an LGBTQIA+ youth, and it's something that I'm very proud of, but it's also something that I have to keep up with. It's something that I have to work a little harder to get just as far.
Leach experienced some relief when Governor Gavin Newsom announced through a partnership with the Trevor Project that they will be providing counselors with increased training to assist LGBTQ youth. But there's still concern.
I'm very appreciative of it, but also I can't stop thinking about all the people in all the other states. It's very important. 40% of LGBTQI+ youth consider suicide. That was data from the last year. And they are affected disproportionately when it comes to mental health crises, as well as many other things.
In the Castro, surrounded by a culture of support and rainbow flags, Sam Hayes still couldn't help but be disappointed by the loss of another resource.
It's just a weird situation that you wake up every day and something else is taken away.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really sad.
Hayes identifies as a gay man. He's fortunate to have a supportive community, but he knows some other people, especially outside of California, aren't so lucky, and they may need specialized services.
I think it's a valuable tool for somebody who's struggling, and to take that away is I don't even know what to say. You know, it's like, it's horrible.
But both Hayes and Leach are grateful to live in a state that's pushing back and educating 988 counselors. Still, Leach wants to emphasize that there are other options for support and encourages people to seek them out.
There's so many resources, and there's also such great community, especially living in the Bay Area. There's such great community here for LGBTQ people, especially LGBTQIA+ youth, and really taking advantage of that and finding hope with other people, I think, is really important and really impactful.
A community of first responders is in mourning after a California parole agent and beloved teammate died in the line of duty. 39-year-old Joshua Byrd, a Navy vet and longtime correctional officer, died Thursday after a shooting inside an East Oakland parole office. Byrd joined the force as a parole agent just last year, but to teammates in Sacramento's Pig Bowl charity football, he was more than a badge, he was family. Friends say he lit up every room, anchored their team on and off the field, and lived to serve others.
Josh was out there. He played on the O-line. He was one of the centers on the team. He was one of the anchors of the team, not only on the field, but in the locker room and at practices and in the community events that he participated in. He just kept us all together. He kept us all striving. We were like a mirror of him.
Byrd is survived by a wife and 3 children. Now to a horrifying scene outside of a Los Angeles nightclub. Authorities say a man who was booted from that club drove his car into a crowd, injuring dozens. Police say 29-year-old Fernando Ramirez plowed his car into a group outside the Vermont Hollywood Club around 2 a.m. yesterday. The crash injured 30 people, 7 critically, after hitting a taco stand and a valet area. Bystanders pulled Ramirez from the car and beat him. At some point, he was also shot, though it's unclear when. He now faces assault charges. A fire captain described the chaotic scene with mass casualties.
So initially, there was so many people here, our firefighters had to triage. There was bystanders, we're helping each other out because there's so many patients. So we had help of LAPD. There's about 25 LAPD officers ultimately showed up on scene. We had 124 firefighters who came here to assist with this, what we call as a mass casualty incident.
So far, there's no word on the suspected shooter. The LAPD is still actively searching. Well, a disturbing trend in Bay Area waters. Scientists have confirmed another gray whale death, pushing this year's total to the highest number in decades. Crews found the 21st dead gray whale of 2025 on July 7th under Richmond's Long Wharf. Scientists say the 37-foot female likely died from a ship strike. It's one of several vessel-related deaths this year. The Marine Mammal Center says this is the highest number of deaths in 25 years. At the same time, the gray whale population is shrinking and calf counts hitting record lows. Experts are concerned the whales may be struggling to survive in a changing ocean. Now to a look at what's happening around the Bay this weekend, starting with a powerful piece of history in Richmond. Today marks the final day of Port Chicago weekend. It's been 81 years since a deadly munitions blast killed 320 service members during World War II. This morning from 9:30 to 11, public tours of the Red Oak Victory ship offer a tribute to close out the weekend at the historic Kaiser shipyards. In San Francisco, neighbors are striking a chord after vandalism hit a local park piano. This afternoon at Sunset Dunes, the community is hosting a concert and a rededication of a newly donated piano. Local musicians will perform from noon to 3. And staying in San Francisco, Sunday Streets takes over Valencia Street in the Mission today from DuBose to 26th. It includes music, food, local vendors, and BMX demos. The event runs from 11 to 4. And at 2 this afternoon, the Stern Grove Festival keeps the music going with Girl Talk and Chromeo taking the stage. That's at Sigmund Stern Grove near 19th and Sloat. The free concert series runs on Sundays through August 17th. Coming up, a decision this past week in San Francisco likely means an end for free parking in Golden Gate Park. How people are feeling about the plan to ease a budget crunch.
It would be really great if this was not yet another way that we're making life more challenging and expensive.
Well, it is a foggy start to our morning here all across the bay. It doesn't really matter where you are. Unless you're on top of the mountain, this is your view. It's not going to stay this way for long, though. I expect a lot more sunshine, especially farther inland, and enjoy the relatively warmer weather while you can because a cool down is on the way, along with windier conditions. I'll let you know what you can expect heading into this upcoming week, coming up in just a bit.
Well, if you are here in San Francisco, you better get ready to pay for parking in Golden Gate Park. The Board of Supervisors took up a proposal on Tuesday to let the SFMTA set parking fees for the park. It passed by a vote of 10 to 1. Right now, there are thousands of free spots that fill up fast on weekends. Lauren Toms talks with people in the park who are not exactly thrilled that they will soon have to pay.
More than 24 million people visit Golden Gate Park each year. Today, Gail came to celebrate something unforgettable, her son's wedding, just hours earlier.
We had a simple ceremony at the city courthouse today and had decided to have a picnic here.
Like many, she drove and parked in the 1,000-acre park that could charge vehicles to pay to park along the winding curbs.
You know, there are just certain things that are really important to keep available for healthy lifestyles and for families to do together. And coming to parks is one of those things.
Gail was one of about a dozen park goers I spoke with, none of whom were on board with the idea of paying to park. They say Golden Gate Park, which is even larger than New York's Central Park, has always been a place of open access. David comes several times a week to walk his dog and says the change could alter his routine.
I don't want to pay $3 or $4 every time I have to walk my dog. I think it's kind of ridiculous.
But the city's Recreation and Parks Department isn't concerned about a decrease in visitors. Tamara Barrick-Apperton tells me the estimated $3 an hour fee to park would help boost the department's budget, which is facing a $12 million deficit.
People love having well-maintained parks and ball fields. They like having classes and summer camps for their children, and we want to keep that in place. And with a $12 million deficit, this is the best way to do it.
The proposed cost, about the same as a one-way bus ticket to the park. It's a comparison the department hopes will frame the fee not as a burden, but as a balance.
$3 an hour is about fairness. It's comparable to a Muni ticket, and if people are taking transit to get to the park, why should they be paying more than people who drive here?
The park has about 3,200 spots, and while many sit empty during the week, on weekends they become a hot commodity. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie sponsored the proposal and tells us in a statement the expected revenue will, quote, protect not only our parks across the city, but also the summer camps, pools, and programs that thousands of families rely on. And while those amenities are welcomed by many, Gail says it's about access for all.
In a time when life is just increasingly more and more expensive in every way, it would be really great if this was not yet another way that we're making life more challenging and expensive for outdoor recreation and good, healthy living.
Yeah, that's tough. You know, it's a lot of people always want to go to the park and they want to go for free. It's a place where families can go for free. So I could see how parking there and paying for parking is an issue.
Yeah.
You know, Golden Gate, not the best weather today.
I mean, they're going to be foggier out there, so you might not even want to go. And actually, no, I take that back. Always get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather
Outside
here.
Lands is there soon, next
Yes,
week, right?
yes.
The weather was bad last year. Maybe it'll be
I don't think it's
better
next week. I think it's August 8th to 10th.
Oh,
I believe. I'm going
What day
on
is
that
it?
Friday.
I don't know. A couple weeks from now.
I'm very excited for it. It's my first time going to Outside Lands, but I'm preparing to be cold out there, and I'm preparing for the fog and the wind. That's what we usually see, especially in Golden Gate Park this time of year. But if you're heading to the top of the mountains early this morning, this is going to be your view above the fog, above the cloud coverage, a beautiful sunrise. Those of you who live down in the Santa Clara Valley, it's a foggy and a cloudy start to our day. We're not seeing any blue skies quite yet. It's going to take until about 10 or 11 for the clouds to clear out. But here in San Francisco, it's going to take quite a lot longer for that cloud coverage to peel back. Downtown, likely seeing sunshine like we did yesterday. Closer to the coast, though, you're going to be seeing a lot of that fog sticking around all day. Low temperatures right now sitting in the mid-50s, and by the afternoon hours, we are going to continue to warm up to very similar to what we felt yesterday. As it's kind of going to be a rinse and repeat across the area. It might be a degree or two cooler, though, because we are expecting our winds to be a little bit breezier. The cloud coverage, again, will continue to peel back, although those of you who do live along our North Bay communities closer to the coast, you might see a little pocket of dry air and sunshine today, which you haven't seen for quite a while. So enjoy it again while you can. It's not necessarily going to allow your high temperatures to warm up above what they did yesterday. You're still going to be sitting in the low 60s directly along the coast, mid 60s here in San Francisco, 70s by the Bay and across our North Bay communities, and then mid to lower 80s inland. So it really depends on your location, what you need to be prepared for this afternoon. But by tomorrow, we are expecting a lot of changes to arrive. Thick cloud coverage into early tomorrow morning, and that cloud coverage is likely going to stick around across parts of the Bay and farther inland tomorrow afternoon. And this is all going to be along with some windier conditions that we are going to continue to see tomorrow afternoon and really cooling down those high temperatures. So this is going to be tomorrow afternoon's high temperatures, not nearly as warm as what we've been feeling this weekend. Inland area is going to be sitting in the mid to upper 70s, along with down into the Santa Clara Valley, maybe even low 70s. Coastal communities, low 60s. You're not changing too much over the next several days. It's really going to be farther inland that the big weather changes when it comes to our temperatures will be arriving. But everybody is going to be seeing windier weather as that storm system approaches. And these are our wind gusts. And the darker the red, the windier the gusts are. And you can actually see those gustier winds that are going to continue to funnel in through the Golden Gate overnight tonight. This is our view tomorrow afternoon. Again, those very windy conditions will continue to set up, especially, again, funneling directly through the Golden Gate. So let's take a closer look at exactly how gusty those winds are going to be. Not a wind advisory quite yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if in some of our interior Bay communities, especially those areas in darkest reds on the highest elevations where those gusts might get upwards of 40 to 45 miles an hour. Keep that in mind, although nothing quite yet. Most of us are going to be seeing 25 to 35 mile an hour gusts. It's nothing that we haven't seen this time of year, but I kind of want to prepare you all for the changes that are on the way. Windier, cloudier, and cooler conditions that are going to be moving in by the time that we step out tomorrow and keeping those highs in the 70s all next week for our inland communities. The closer to the coast you get, you're still going to be in the low 60s like you're seeing today and each and every day of the upcoming week.
Coming up in sports, the Valkyries are off this weekend for the All-Star break, but Kayla Thornton represented Golden State in her first ever All-Star game appearance. And the Giants are searching for their first win after the All-Star break, but could they get it done? With Logan Webb on the mound? Sports is coming up. A rare weekend off for the Valkyries during the All-Star break, but still lots of interest locally and nationally on the festivities going on in Indianapolis. The WNBA announced a sellout crowd for 17,000 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for all Saturday's All-Star game. And there's Kayla Thornton representing the Valks in the first All-Star appearance of her 10-year career. And a statement moment before the game, the players wore shirts during warm-ups that said, "Pay us what you owe us." As for the game, it didn't take long for Miramonte High alum Sabrina Ionescu to make an impact. She scores 12 points off the bench or as a starter for Team Clark, and Thornton made the most of her All-Star debut. She hit twice from 4-point range, a new feature of the All-Star game. Thornton was one of 3 players to end the game with a double-double. But it wasn't enough for Team Clark to win this one. Team Collier wins 151-131. The Valkyries will resume the regular season on Friday night against Dallas. The Giants like their chances when ace Logan Webb takes the mound. The problem, though, is he rarely gets a ton of run support. Unfortunately, that was not the only issue Saturday afternoon. The bats were cold to start, but not Willie Adames. He breaks up a perfect game in the 5th inning with a solo shot to left. The Giants take a 1-0 lead. Logan Webb didn't give up a run until the 6th inning. Here we are with runners at the corners with Will Wagner at the plate. He sends one to the wall down the right field line. Both runners score. And then moving on to the next batter, Tyler Heineman. He hits one deep to left field. And take a look at this. Helio Ramos looks like he can make the catch, but he can't. Hang on. Another run comes in. Webb gives up 4 runs in the 6th inning, and the Blue Jays were back on top 4-2. Adames did all he could to keep the Giants in it. With 2 outs in the 7th, he hits his 2nd home run of the game to pull San Francisco within 1. But the rest of the Giants lineup came up with only 2 hits. In the 8th inning, the bullpen couldn't keep it close. Heineman hits a deep shot down the right field line. That stays fair to put the Giants away. The Jays went 6-3, and the Giants will look to avoid the sweep today. In the NBA, the Warriors closing out Summer League in Las Vegas against the Cavaliers. The Dubs went out in style. End of the 3rd quarter, a sweet move from Jules Bernard for this 3. Bernard scored 16 points in 21 minutes off the bench. The Warriors go on to win 82-71, and they finish Summer League with a record of 3-2. The Quakes in action against the Sounders up in Seattle, 64th minute. The Quakes down 1 off a set piece, and the header is stopped, but Chicho's there for the rebound, gets the equalizer to knot it up at 2. A few minutes later, though, the Sounders respond. Pedro de la Vega dribbles and fires from outside the box, and Seattle picks up 3 points, wins 3-2. And that's it for sports today. The Giants game starts at 9:05.
Coming up, President Trump continues his effort to move past a controversy over the case of the late Jeffrey Epstein. What he is saying in his latest social media posts. And the governor of Arizona takes an aerial tour of the wildfire zone near the north rim of the Grand Canyon. What she is vowing to do after seeing the damage for herself.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Welcome back. The time now is 6:30. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kelsey Thorne, joined by meteorologist Zoe Metz. Zoe, we were talking earlier about the weather at Golden Gate. I remember last year during Outside Lands, it was freezing and windy and foggy. And I know it's not for a few weeks, but hopefully we'll see a shift.
Be prepared for the foggy, windy conditions. I have to ask, who did you see? Outside Lanes
it was
last
Renee
year?
Rapp, Chapel Roan. It was a great lineup last year, but I know this year's great. You said you were into Doechii.
I am very excited to see Doechii this year.
That'll be fun.
It should be a good time, but I'm going to be prepared for the foggy, the windy conditions that we're used to seeing this time of year in Golden Gate Park, because summertime in San Francisco, as we all know, is not like summertime across most of the rest of the country. It's cold, it's cloudy, it's windy. We have to wait until September, October to really feel the heat in the Bay. Inland areas, though, you've been feeling the heat every day, not above average, but very normal for this time of year. Above all of the cloud coverage, a beautiful view from on top of Mount Diablo. You can see the fog filling in our valley communities. And again, most of us not dealing with that beautiful view. Most of us dealing with this, the foggy conditions to start off the day. Those temperatures right now sitting in the mid to upper 50s. And we are expecting our wind gusts to be breezier today than yesterday, gusting anywhere from 20 to 30, maybe a 35-mile-an-hour gust here or there. Tomorrow, though, you are going to be noticing those winds getting even gustier, though, as a storm system is going to be moving. It's actually currently making its way along the coast of Canada, and this blob of cold air is going to continue to head farther and farther south, impacting the northern half of California by as soon as tomorrow afternoon. And you can see this little pocket of cool air. That's the Bay Area. We are definitely going to be cooler by as soon as tomorrow. I'll let you know how cool it's going to be and how long it's going to stick around for coming up in my full forecast. Back to you, Kelsey.
Awesome. Thanks, Zoe. Well, President Trump is still grappling with an uproar among his own supporters over the sex trafficking case of the late Jeffrey Epstein. Trump posted online about it again on Saturday. CBS News' Wendy Gillette shows us what he wrote.
President Trump spent his Saturday golfing, but the Epstein controversy was not far from his mind. He again posted on social media about his request for all grand jury testimony in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking case to be released, which a judge will decide. And he wrote, even if the court gave its full and unwavering approval, nothing will be good enough for the troublemakers and radical left lunatics making the request. Supporters in his own party, as well as Democrats, have asked for more transparency.
I think there should be a full disclosure of the materials on Epstein. Statements by the Attorney General that she had all the issues and reviews on her desk for her to take a look at were kind of a promise to the American people that something was coming, and nothing has come out of it.
A Department of Justice and FBI memo was released almost 2 weeks ago that said there was no Epstein client list and no more information would be made public.
I don't think there's any reason not to release it. The president did call for that, so why don't we have it?
President Trump also wrote Friday he's suing the Wall Street Journal for $20 billion over its story alleging that he wrote a birthday note to Epstein in 2003 that included a hand-drawn sketch of what appeared to be a nude woman. And this message, happy birthday and may every day be another wonderful secret. Dow Jones & Co., which publishes the Wall Street Journal, released a statement that says the company has full confidence in the accuracy of the journal's reporting.
House Republicans may vote this week on a resolution asking for more transparency in the Epstein case. Democrats have their own version that would be more legally binding. Well, Arizona's Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs got a first-hand look at wildfire damage along the Grand Canyon's North Rim. Hobbs flew by helicopter over the Dragon Bravo fire zone Saturday, where flames wiped out more than 70 structures, including the historic Grand Canyon Lodge. The fire, sparked by lightning on July 4th, was initially allowed to burn, but quickly grew out of control. Hobbs says she's not casting blame yet, but wants to understand the decisions that were made leading up to the disaster.
I know it's so devastating as a lifelong Arizonan. It just as a reminder of the shared stewardship we have of this land and this iconic treasure of the Grand Canyon. So we're going to do everything we can to help support managing this fire and then get to rebuilding.
Hobbs plans to meet with federal officials this week. The North Rim, normally a popular tourism spot, remains closed for the time being. Farther north, the nation's largest wildfire of the year is burning in Oregon. Crews are racing to hold the line as weather conditions begin to improve. The Cram Fire has scorched more than 95,000 acres near Willowdale and is threatening more than 650 structures, most of them homes. Strong winds and dry air fueled the spread earlier, but firefighters say that spread is now slowing down with moist air and cooler temperatures this weekend, helping them to gain control. The fire is now nearly 50% contained, and officials say they have managed to keep it from reaching a national forest nearby. In Texas, a bit of relief in the aftermath of those deadly July 4th floods. Officials now say the number of missing has dropped sharply. That figure has dropped from nearly 100 people to just 3. The flash floods killed at least 135, with the worst devastation along the Guadalupe River. Local officials say most of those who were initially missing have now been found safe. Crews are still searching by land, air, and water for any remaining victims. Coming up, a modern bakery using ancient techniques. We'll introduce you to a San Francisco business that is baking its sourdough in history.
It's a really simple idea of just utilizing what's already in nature.
Some artisan bakers are taking advantage of the sourdough craze in San Francisco, which of course has been known as the birthplace of sourdough since the gold rush. The pandemic, though, sparked a renaissance of the age-old staple, and Itai Hodge shows us why this classic loaf still has plenty of rise left in it.
If you're one of the millions who think bread no longer has a place at the table, you may want to clear a spot, because inside this unassuming bakery in San Francisco, something's happening that might just have you believe in carbs again.
This is not your Wonder Bread. No, this is not your Wonder Bread.
Jamie Sams runs the kitchen at Jane the Bakery. On busy mornings, they can crank out up to 600 loaves. Each one requires about 5 days from start to finish. Proof there's nothing half-baked about taking your time.
It's a really simple idea of just utilizing what's already in nature.
Owner Amanda Michael says they wanted to go back to how bread was made thousands of years ago.
We're using the whole kernel of grains, so the germ, the endosperm, nothing stripped out of it.
Not only do they mill their grain on site, it's grown on their family farm, taking every loaf from seed to slice. And it seems the bet is paying off big time. Customers like Sharon Garrison say it's the best thing since, well, you know.
There's no word to describe it.
Across the country, sourdough has been on the rise, fueled by a pandemic-era obsession with baking that's still going strong. Karen Bornarth from the Bread Bakers Guild of America says shoppers are pickier now, and while that's pushed bakeries to step up their game, artisanal bread takes work, and that costs more.
The ingredients may not be expensive, but the hands that make them are worth a lot of money. So keeping it accessible for people, keeping it affordable so that the market can grow is the real challenge.
Still, it's hard to argue with the taste, which is why, in the name of journalism, we had to try a few loaves.
Oh, wow.
Okay, maybe more than just a few.
What's the most important ingredient? Love. No, I'm just kidding.
And that passion for sourdough may just prove that the notion people are done with bread is toast.
Of course, it's not just the Bay Area. Get this. The global sourdough market was valued at $3.3 billion last year and is projected to reach more than $5.3 billion by 2030. Coming up, we catch up with researchers examining the living seawall along San Francisco's Embarcadero, how their experiment could pay off as the city looks to remake its waterfront.
Marine life still finds habitat, and we're just trying to enhance that.
Without a seawall, downtown San Francisco and its vibrant economy would not exist. But the city's existing seawall was built over a century ago. It's aging and vulnerable to quakes, flooding, and sea level rise. A few months ago, we told you about an innovative experiment that tested out specialty designed tiles that could become part of a new wall. And now they've removed the last of those tiles to be sent out to a lab and tested. Ann Makovic explains what they found.
Along San Francisco's Embarcadero, a groundbreaking experiment is revealing promising results. At the aging seawall, a diver with the Port of San Francisco carefully removed some experimental tiles. 3 years ago, the port installed them into bay waters. Now, after 2 years of monitoring, 9 tiles were slowly hoisted up, placed into protective bags, and into the hands of scientists from the Smithsonian Environmental Research Center. Each tile has become a thriving new community, packed with marine life.
Even in the midst of the city with all its hard structures, that marine life still finds habitat, and we're just trying to enhance that.
The tiles are part of the Living Seawall pilot project. They have special textured surfaces that are intended to promote biodiversity and support native species.
Living seawalls are this idea of how do we still protect and provide the needs of shoreline defense that a seawall does, but could we add some habitat value to it?
San Francisco's rock and concrete seawall stretches over 3 miles from Fisherman's Wharf to Mission Creek. Built more than 150 years ago, it is deteriorating and at risk.
The seawalls, it's a big continuous piece of infrastructure, but it's sitting on young bay mud and squishy soils, and in an earthquake may and likely move bayward. The other risk, of course, is sea level rise.
The Embarcadero already gets flooded during king tides. Global warming is projected to cause sea levels around the bay to rise between 3 and 6 feet, even more, by the end of the century.
We need to fortify our seawall and our line of defense.
One line of defense: boost the bay's biodiversity. The more species living in the bay, the more resilient and healthy the waters will be as the planet warms.
Here's a sea spider.
As for the tiles, early results show they do indeed promote biodiversity and support native species.
So we want to do something that tips the balance in favor of native species.
From Olympia oysters to seaweed and crabs, scientists have detected 10 different native species living on the tiles. Home sweet home.
That's super cool. Well, the port is expected to begin work on the new seawall next year. They're hoping to finish by 2040. I could see it taking a while because all of those little tiles. We're bringing Zoe back in with us to talk about weather. You know, Zoe, we're very close to the Embarcadero. And walking up and down, I had no clue that there's living seawall. That's so cool.
I didn't either. I actually literally just read the article about it yesterday, and I was like, oh, we should do a story about this. Anne was already on it.
I know.
I think that's so interesting, and I love to see that we're doing something to kind of give back to the environment because there's so many of us here and we do so much damage to it. So
it's important.
Yeah, it's very important. So let's get out there this morning and appreciate the environment that we live in because there is going to be a lot of beauty all across the bay and a little taste of something for everybody with those microclimates in full force. Right now, quite a lot of fog, not necessarily those microclimates. We're all sitting in the mid to upper 50s. By the afternoon hours, we are expecting very similar to yesterday for inland communities to see a lot of sunshine, coastal communities to see a lot of that cloud coverage, and San Francisco, as usual, kind of going to be cut in half. Cloudier on the western half, and then sunshine downtown with a little bit of that fog streaming in through the Golden Gate. The slight difference today from yesterday when it comes to the cloud coverage is our North Bay communities. You might see a few more peaks of sunshine if you live along our coastal communities, maybe up near Point Reyes. That will be your best chance to actually soak up some sunshine along the coast. It's not going to be warm out there, though. We're still going to be sitting in the low 60s from Point Reyes down to Half Moon Bay, mid 60s here in San Francisco, 70s by the Bay and up across our North Bay communities, and then mid to lower 80s across our inland East Bay and down into the Santa Clara Valley. It's very similar to what we felt yesterday, maybe a degree or two cooler, and that's all because our winds are going to be stronger today as that storm system is approaching. It's going to arrive overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. A lot more fog and cloud coverage, and that fog and cloud coverage is going to stick around even into the afternoon hours for areas by the bay and even for parts of our more inland communities. So foggier, cloudier conditions tomorrow, windier conditions as well, and cooler conditions. Tomorrow afternoon, those high temperatures are going to be significantly cooler than what we felt today. Inland areas, those highs are going to stay in the mid to upper 70s, low 70s down into the Santa Clara Valley and across our North Bay communities, 60s by the bay. and then low 60s along the coast. The coasts are not changing all too much when it comes to those temperatures. It's the winds that are really going to be significantly picking up as we step out over the next 24 to 48 hours, as that storm system is currently making its way along the coast of Alaska and Canada. And it's going to continue to spill south along the west coast of the United States, and again, usher in quite a lot of cool air and windy weather. And again, here in the Bay Area, those winds are going to be funneled directly in through the Golden Gate. It's actually really interesting. Didn't need to pull that up. You can see those winds getting funneled through the Golden Gate, and those wind gusts are going to be anywhere from 25 to 35, maybe even isolated 40-mile-an-hour gusts. These are our winds, and the darker the red, the windier the conditions. And this is what we're expecting tomorrow afternoon. Those gusts anywhere from 25 to 35 miles an hour. Windiest are going to be across more of our inlandmost communities in our North Bay, where that storm system is going to be the most apparent. But either way, it is going to be windier, it is going to be cloudier, and it is going to be cooler as soon as tomorrow. And it's going to stay that way through the rest of the week ahead of us, likely below average conditions inland for the next 6 to 10 days. Keep that in mind for any outdoor plans that you may have. These cooler than normal conditions sticking around again through the end of the month. Back to you.
It's 6:54. Time for a look at this morning's headlines. Well, after nearly 2 weeks of overflowing bins and mounting frustration, a Bay Area trash strike has come to an end. Teamsters and Republic Services reached a deal, and workers are now back on the job. The work stoppage left trash-affected communities in San Jose, Fremont, and Daly City, among other places. Republic says its crews are now working to clear the backlog. Hundreds of people gathered near a shuttered prison called FCI Dublin. They protested potential plans to reopen the prison to hold undocumented immigrants. Japanese Americans say it echoes the trauma of World War II internment camps in the U.S. A community of first responders is grieving the loss of Joshua Bird, the Navy vet, parole agent, and beloved Pig Bowl charity football player, was shot and killed at work in East Oakland. A teammate says he was a leader on the field and at community events. And gray whale deaths in the Bay Area just hit a 25-year high. Crews found the 21st dead whale of the year near Richmond. Scientists say a ship likely struck her. They are concerned about whether the species can survive. Okay, let's go back out to Zoe with the weather.
Well, it is going to be one last slightly warmer day across our inland communities before a big cool down arrives, along with windier conditions. Tomorrow and Tuesday definitely going to be the windiest day of the next few, so keep that in mind, although temperature is going to stay below average for at least the next week, if not through the end of July. That's inland, though. Along the coast, no big temperature changes on the way. You'll be staying in the low 60s, but the good news is soak up a few peaks of sunshine today before the windier, foggier, gloomy conditions arrive. By as soon as tomorrow, Kelsey, I know that's probably your least favorite thing to hear, so enjoy some sunnier, slightly warmer temperatures today.
I got to go out to Mount Diablo. It looked great out there.
Beautiful on top of the mountains and farther inland. That's where you're going to get the warm weather and summer-like conditions.
Yeah, maybe I'll take a drive this afternoon.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
We'll talk about something fun. Bay Area DJs and breakdancers have been showing off their skills.
Yes, they performed at San Francisco's first ever hip-hop festival.
Clap, let me hear you clap.
It was put on by the nonprofit SF Hip Hop at the Midway in Bayview. The two-day event featured panel discussions, music performances, and art competitions. Organizers say San Francisco's hip-hop scene has been around for decades, and it is very important to keep it alive.
A lot of the early hip-hop stuff, or what they call hip-hop, I like to call it funk stuff, that was happening in the 70s and 80s started right here in Bayview.
We've been around 50 years now, but the culture's dying in different areas, gentrification, different things hitting our community, so we wanted to have a strong statement of culture, positivity, and our cultural welfare.
Artists appearing at the festival include Mixmaster Mike, DJ Qbert, The Dog Pound, and Diggable Plants. I like that name, Diggable Plants.
I like them all, honestly. They're so much fun. I don't think you can go out to a hip hop festival and not just bop you around, bop your head. And
have you been to that venue before? It's fun.
I
it's like
haven't.
a huge warehouse. Yeah, over in Bayview. They do concerts all the time. You should check it out.
I might have to. Honestly, it looks like so much fun. Beautiful day to get out there, enjoy the sunshine before windy, gloomy, chilly weather arrives by tomorrow.
Yeah, we got to take advantage of this Sunday.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Exactly.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. CBS Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley is next here on KPIX. Local news, of course, continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.